come here today to a little marina in Cork Harbour to test a very special boat. We've waited for many months to get this, for the weather to be just right. And as you can see, when I say just right, I mean utterly filthy, because we are testing the Safe Haven Marine Barracuda, a stealth military craft designed to go out in any conditions, and I mean any conditions, and tackle them head on at speed. So needless to say, a boat like this has a lot of very special features to it. First of all, it has to be incredibly tough. So it's built out of extremely thick GRP composite hull, solid on the bottom, cord on the deck, and then the whole thing is shaped to be a stealth boat. So you'll see very few flat surfaces. It's all angled to bounce the radar back so that it doesn't go back to the receiver but disappears off into space. So it shouldn't pick up on any radar. It's also got a lot of very trick features. So inside these carbon fibre panels is a gyro stabilised gun platform that rises hydraulically out from under the hatches and is controlled from inside the wheelhouse. Lots of carbon fibre detailing to keep the weight down. So here you've got 1-inch thick glass so you can pound straight through any waves. It's got a very narrow wave piercing bow so you can go straight through the green stuff and that's not going to break. There is an option to have the whole thing bulletproofed, so you've got ballistic Kevlar material in here, and indeed you can bulletproof the glass. All the panels up here again angled so radar waves get bounced out. Little glass deck lights, mainly so that you can see up through them to see the wave coming down on you, and it is designed to take on anything. So in a minute we're going to go out into the entrance to Cork Harbour where there's big standing waves, and we're going to try and punch through them and see how it copes. So the wheelhouse for the Barracuda is very fit for purpose. As you can see, we've got carbon fibre panelling everywhere. We've got all the nav station conveniently to hand. These big suspension seats, deck hatches here so that you can look up at the wave coming down on you. And then down below, there's a bit of a surprise too. Check this out. Gun rack for all your kit. I'm pleased to say these aren't actually the real deal, but obviously it's used for military purposes, so you're going to need those. And behind that is the gun platform itself. So the electro-hydraulics lift the gun out from the foredeck hatch, and then the weapons operator controls it from here. Clearly, when you're going out to tackle big waves, you need a helm station that is completely fit for purpose, and that's exactly what we've got here. Wheel sits nicely in your lap, suspension seat to take any shocks that do get through, throttles right where you need them, very conveniently located, big screen, good view out, really solid wiper that just clears the screen instantly, and even good visibility through the side hatches as well as overhead. It's neat, simple, utterly fit for purpose. So we're running out towards the mouth of the harbour now. We've got Frank Kowalski on the helm, cameraman Lester behind us, and Ian, I think he's still there somewhere. We're all belted in and looking for some, well, the biggest waves we can find really. So we're picking up speed a little bit now, heading out towards the mouth to try and find these breaking waves. It's pretty foggy, and until you actually get there, you've no idea quite what it's going to be like. So we're picking up the pace now. We're doing 17, 18 knots, pretty much into the waves, and hopefully if the conditions are right, we should get some proper breaking rollers. So now it's starting to get a bit more exciting. We've got some quite big rollers coming in that are building. They're just beginning to break a little bit at the top. They must be, whoa! I don't know how big they are, but they've got to be 3 or 4 meters. What do you reckon, Frank? Probably about, whoa! And we're coming off the top of them and dropping like a stone. And you can really feel your whole stomach leap up in your body. But the boat feels absolutely rock solid. It's strange, it's so kind of refined and so solid that you just don't feel it, other than this extraordinary motion being lifted up to the top of the crest of the wave and then plunged down off the other side. But it feels absolutely secure, absolutely safe. And here comes another big one. Here we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Unbelievable. And yet it's not slamming. We have got suspension seats that help, and the boat is absolutely rock solid. We got carbon fibre interior and 1-inch thick glass, so it's built to take exactly this kind of punishment, and it's coping remarkably well. So we're just nosing into them. We're still doing about 12, 13 knots, and then occasionally a little bit more just to punch off the top. And you can see the bow is just clearing the tops even when it comes off, rather than going straight into the next wave. It just lifts as you go into it. So we're getting a lot of spray, but we're not quite yet in green water. Oh, okay, we've just taken one right over the bow there. Huge explosion of water over the screen. Whoa, I've never been out in any kind of sea like this. It's absolutely unbelievable. To be honest, I was bricking it this morning. You don't quite know what you're going to get. If you haven't done it before, you really don't know. And all I've seen are these photographs and these YouTube footage of these crazy boats going out in what seem like ridiculous conditions that you'd never want to be anywhere near. And the truth is that it feels incredibly safe and secure. You're so well insulated in here, and the boat is so capable. Oh, here we go with a big one. Whoa. It just takes it. It just feels absolutely rock solid. Plows straight through, lifts up. You just get this big lift over the top, and you drop down into the trough, and then just carries on as if nothing had happened. It's everything I hoped it would be. Sadly, we didn't quite, well, it was a bit too early for the full Irish breakfast, but all things considered, that's probably not a bad thing, because there's every chance that you might just see it again in these kind of conditions. I did take the precaution of a couple of Stugeron earlier on, but actually I really don't think you needed it. It is such an adrenaline rush and such a buzz that you haven't got time for feeling like that. It's just an extraordinary sensation. So we're right in the thick of it now off Roach's Point, with the lighthouse just over to starboard, and we just turned around. Frank has found a little lull in the waves to spin the boat round, and now we're going with the sea. And you can look down the face of these big rollers and feel it as the boat accelerates down, surfing down the wave. Suddenly picks up speed, and the trick is not to stuff the nose in. We can see it's going into the back of a wave here. And he's put on a burst of power just to stay on the wave. We're chasing up the back of the next wave now. Well, Frank's just been brave enough, or stupid enough, we'll soon find out, to let me have a go at the helm. What a steep looking one. Little bit of a crest on it. Here we go. Whoa, whoa. They're not quite as fearsome as they were earlier on, but whoa, they're still quite interesting. I've certainly never been out in anything quite like this before, either in terms of conditions or craft. But thankfully, I've got the right tool for the job. I haven't taken a green one yet, but whoa, here we go. So we just spun around to head back into harbour and go with the waves for a change, and maybe use just a little bit more of the power of those twin Cat C9 engines. We're going to need them to climb up the backs of the wave and then ease off as we come over the top. Try not to stuff that bow. It's a very different view in this direction. You're just looking up the backs of waves and just see a little white crest at the top, not quite knowing how big the trough is the other side. There's quite a big one in front of us now. Here we go, and down into the trough. Up the back of the next one. Bit of power to ease over. Bow way up in the air. And here we come down again the other side. It's amazingly responsive for such a tough boat. With a bow up and down in front of you, partly obscuring the waves as it goes up in the air, and then a wall of green as you come down the other side. Whoa! I got that a little bit wrong. Just stuffed the bow a bit and took a green one over the bow. We've just come back from spending the afternoon out at a little underwater pinnacle about 5 miles south of Cork Harbour called Daunt Rock, where the Atlantic rollers come in and then rise up on the shallow seabed, create some really big standing breaking waves. And we were out there waiting for the bigger set to come along and then piling through it. The boat itself was absolutely fine. It's this super solid construction with carbon fibre, additional mouldings, really thick glass. The boat just punched straight through it and we were safe and sound inside. It is an absolutely awesome machine. To see the full story, look out for the February boat show issue of Motorboat and Yachting and read what we've been up to.